doing great, gentlemen.
Thank you, Dan.
Speaker. You're used to that. You're hearing that, I'm sure.
He even wore his cowboy hat today.
It's for Dan. I'm telling you, I put on my best for Dan.
Yeah, this is my
Yeah.
newest black shirt.
I was thinking it looked a little special there.
One of
Just
only
checking my
18
mic
black
here.
t-shirts that I own.
Yeah.
The mic sound good?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Sounds really good. All right, guys. Welcome to a special episode of Elite Agent Talk. I'm so excited to have everybody here and talk to four of these amazing gentlemen that I'm so excited to be working with. It's called the CEO Pro, Achieving Agency Success in 90 Days. And Michael, let's start off with you. You're no stranger to the channel, and you're the one who brought us all together. But tell us your vision behind, your vision and how you came across and chose us four, to be able to work with you.
Yeah, that's a great question, Dan. So, one constant theme that I continue to run into is, and it's just not with farmers; it's with a lot of companies, but business owners, agency owners getting into business and then feeling as if there's not there's no leadership courses out there. There's no, like, you can contact peers, but there's no set curriculum to help an agency owner really understand the foundational processes and systems that it takes to not only run a business, but scale a business and become that true CEO of your business. And so that was the original thought process, is what can we do, what can I do to create something that's going to help out agents become better business owners, better leaders in their business, give them more confidence and clarity in how to run their business with foundational processes and systems. And when you look at it, and why I chose you four is because you four are some of the best in the country, just not with farmers, but just insurance agents, business owners. You all have an extremely high business acumen, very high entrepreneurial spirit. And so I couldn't think of any four individuals better to team up with to help out specifically farmers agents. I mean, we've got the number one agent in Oklahoma. We've got the top agent in Texas, top agent in California. Cole crushes it in Oklahoma. He's right up there in the top along with Trent. And so I couldn't think of four people better. And each of you have your own unique strengths, which I love. And that was another thing that I wanted to make sure was an important part of the collaboration and the team of, hey, how can we help out multiple agents by having different viewpoints of people that are wildly successful, but do it slightly differently. And so that's how I landed with you four, and I couldn't be more excited about what we've got going on. I'm super, super excited. Registration just opened, and this thing is definitely going to sell out, and we're very excited about it. And again, like, there's not a lot of people out there that have courses like this. And I think what we've put together for the next 12 weeks is going to be absolutely amazing for a lot of individuals that will change their lives and their careers.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for letting me be one of the agents. But yeah, just to give you guys a little more context, 12-week course starts September, and yeah, it's only limited to 200 agents too. So really excited to work with agents and go really deep on certain subjects. And I really like that one of the sessions we had together brainstorming our course, we talked about having it broken down to 3 steps each month. First month is going to be about marketing, then about agency processes, and then third month is growing agency revenue. So another gentleman that I loved working with all the time is Josiah. And the first week, we're going to be talking about marketing, seeing success with internet leads. So what part of your course or your session are you most excited to share about? And share us a little bit about your thoughts on what we're doing here.
Yeah, so super excited about it. Like Michael said, I think it's a unique setup, this roadmap. And so we've had opportunity. I've done some speaking. We've had the opportunity to have different products, but I don't feel like there's a program out there like this, which is why this is the first time I've been willing to say, yeah, I'm in. I'm interested in teaching. I'm interested in coaching through this because it is so unique. Like you mentioned, we're starting off 3 different segments, starting with marketing. So my opening one is on internet leads. It's something I'm passionate about. I've worked leads back at Allstate. I've worked leads at Farmers. And I think when I usually talk about leads and internet leads, it's high level. These are 25, 30-minute conversations. They're generic questions. People, where do you buy your leads? What's the best lead? These are general questions. We rarely have the time or the format to go deep for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, really going through the process step by step of how to buy them, work them, use them, and maximize their potential. So I'm super passionate about teaching people how do you break down a cost per quote? How do you break down an actual cost per sale? How do you back out the commissions that you're getting out of it and figure out what your profit margin is? Are you profitable in 6 months? Are you profitable in 18 months? When you factor in the commissions you're paying your producer, how fast do you make your money back? When you're looking at marketing, how do you know how much to spend? Is there a set percentage of your top line revenue that you should be putting into organic growth, and what can you afford to do? And how do you have predictable results every month in order to make sure you're maximizing the money? So super excited. That's kind of what I'll be talking about, especially in that first session, is giving people the tools to build a budget around it, to know how to work them efficiently, and to be able to have predictable results going forward when they use them.
Nice. Wow. I'm just excited to be able to be part of this group so I could listen to you for free. Yeah, I'm really excited. And all that data that stuff is so important for us, the agency owners. And yeah, going deeper into each subject, I think is really what this platform gives us the opportunity to do. So yeah, just I'm really interested to hear from you in month 2. But let's go to Cole. How to scale with mortgage lenders. Very subject
Yeah.
there.
So we get suckered into believing that all growth has a cost, or growth that we're maybe chasing is not, you can't run a ton of volume, right? So how do we change that narrative? So how do we put in legwork, chase down people that are going to send us business? And how do we do it so we can do it at volume? So it's actually a thing that can grow your business. And that's something that I've developed and, been working on since before I was an agent. And I've had tremendous results from it. And it's crazy what you could do when you have just a little bit of knowledge and enough to be dangerous, and then kind of enough guts to chase it, right? But not all marketing strategies have to be based on spending more money. Not all marketing strategies have to be based on attacking your current clients to send you more business, right? Because we all want referrals. We do. But, you can only hit them up so many times. Like, okay, I sent you 3 people now, and I'm not sending any more, right? We don't want to ever be in that space. So how do we do something that we can pick up the phone and have results from that are where we can actually scale, write business, hit our bonuses, and write good business, right? Business that sticks, business that stays with you. And so that's why, I've chose to go about the route that I've gone, just because tremendous amount of results. And once you build it, it's built, and you can keep refining it and make it better, or you can ride it out the way it is. And that's what I really like about that.
Yeah, that's a great one too, because man, there's so many farmers agents that really have succeeded in this, how to scale with mortgage lenders. So that is a true way that many agents have become successful. And then internet leads, which just has. So like Michael said, we're covering so many different areas and going deeper in each subject. So I'm really excited to hear about how you market and grow your insurance agency too. And yeah, Trent, I'm really excited to work with you too. So your subject for month number 1 is effective accountability with staff, leadership, and expanding marketing opportunities. So yeah, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm super excited to be doing this with you guys as well. And I think my first session goes very hand in hand with Josiah on the internet leads and effective accountability. We're in the people business, but a lot of times when you hear people business, we think about our customers, protecting our customers, which we obviously want to do. But we also, our staff, they're also people. They have families, they come to work every day, they work hard. How do we put them in a position to be successful. I fully believe that that's my job. Every person that I hire, how do I help them maximize compensation and be successful? How do I hold them accountable to certain things? How do I back out exactly the reason why we're holding them accountable to certain things? And so that, that's the way to be effective in your accountability, is to show someone, if you do these things will happen. It's just a math equation. And so that's one thing that I always try to remember when I do bring someone on board is, we are still in the people business, whether it's clients, whether it's staff members, team members, whatever it may be. You don't have to have a huge staff to be effective. You can have a small staff, you can have a massive staff, but I think that accountability still needs to be clear, because you can be profitable or you can lose a ton of money on staff if you're not careful. And I've done it. I've had a lot of failures and learned a lot throughout the year. So I'm happy to and excited to share what I've learned up until this point. And I do think it's impossible to scale without good people, without effective accountability and clear expectations. I really do. So I'm really looking forward to talking about the ways that we can hold staff accountable and continue to grow our agencies.
Yeah, it's a great subject. The staff is the way to grow, and that's just determines how successful we are is by our people. So that is something that is a very important subject. I'm really glad and excited to be hearing from you about that. So yeah, month number 2, we're going to be going into team and culture transformation. So yeah, Michael, what do you want to share about that subject? It's a very important one as well. We're going to talk about
let's hold up for a second, Dan. What are you going to be sharing in month 1?
Oh man, thought I was going to get away with this because I got to come up with something here.
No, we all joined this class just to get you. So I'm going to take notes and.
No, yeah, okay. Well, let me think of something on the fly here. So, I've been doing this for 17 years, so working leads, okay? I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that. But I do like right now automation, having consistent message flows, what type of messages works, the cadence of it, the timing of it, also how to maybe have calls integrated. What kind of KPIs are we looking for? How fast are we calling the leads? What type of cohorts, like how long did it take to close, like the older leads, how to work those. So just lead management maybe, and how to have high volume of leads and how to organize them and how to really get the best out of them. And I think automation is a big tool that has really helped my agency out. And that is something that I really want to share with. May even be able to go into how to generate your own leads too. That might take another hour and a half, but I think that those 2 things, generating leads and then how to work them, is going to be my topic for month number 1.
I love that, Dan, because I feel like so much in our industry, we've been around long enough. We hear everybody's like, hey, speed to contact matters and make sure you call them a lot. It's like, these are very gray general statements versus, hey, like, here's effective call cadence. Here's what email workflow should look like. Here's like text intervals. Here's things that you can say to, do you start off with asking for a meeting? Probably not. It's a high ask question. Or do you a yes or no question to hook somebody? So things like that are super valuable for people to share, because especially agents who may be newer or just getting back into marketing heavy, they know that the deal is call them a lot, call them frequent, speed to contact. But no, there's so rare a discussion on here's actually an effective plan to put together on how to do that.
Yeah, great point, Josiah. I think that's the best thing about this workshop, courses that we have. It's not just like, hey, recruit. It's like, okay, well, we know. It's like, okay, how to recruit, and with the leads, like you said, just going a little bit deeper into each subject, so we have a clear, how-to guide in a way of each step, because it's just not helpful enough to just say what to do. It's like how to do it, I think, is really important.
And I would add on to month 1 real fast, because Trent said something, all of you said something very important, but one thing that Trent said was that, hey, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I think we've all made a ton of mistakes. I know I've made a lot of mistakes. Every single one of you have been like, yeah, we've made a ton of mistakes along the way. And that's one of the benefits about this course is you get to learn from others' mistakes so that you don't make the same mistake. And also within month one, we're talking about ways, the two best ways, in my opinion, to grow an insurance agency, scale an insurance agency is going to be through your centers of influence, referrals, and internet leads. And so with Cole hitting on mortgage lenders, how you develop one center of influence is how you develop all centers of influence. It's the same process. You just take and duplicate it. And then you get to learn multiple internet lead processes from Josiah, from Trent. I know that Dan, you're going to be talking about your leads and what you've learned over the last 17 years, those KPIs. Trent's going to be talking about how to hold the team accountable, similar to you, Dan. And so there's just a lot that goes into this month one around how do you actually create the processes and systems and then hold your team accountable to it when you're looking to grow and scale your agency. And so I'm pumped about month one. I think that there's a lot of lessons that are going to be learned, and you guys are sharing all the details from the lessons you've learned to what's working now in the current environment. Man, month one's going to be crushing.
Yeah, I think it's important to associate a cost with all this stuff too. Like if you figure the mistakes we've all made in hiring, there's probably $1 million in blunders right here that you won't have to make. I mean, and so let's wipe that out. It's like, okay, we just saved you $1 million, by the way. For us to learn this.
We've paid a very expensive tuition personally.
Yes.
Not just hiring, but marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think $1 million is for probably just for me a year that I made mistakes on. But yeah, I'm glad that we're starting off with marketing too, because the way we thought about it, right, is that without marketing, we can't even get anything started. Like that's where everything starts. So we could have everything else set up perfectly, but if you don't have people to talk to, if you don't have leads, if you don't have, flow coming in, traffic coming into your agency, then we can't even start talking about conversion. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that we're starting there, just so from week number one, agents can have idea like, okay, what's the biggest constraint of my business? It's a lot of times it's just we don't have enough people to talk to. So that's the first thing first is we want agents to be able to just get leads, have people to talk to, staff have people to talk to, and then we're going to number two, which is team and culture transformation. So Josiah, let's talk about your subject here, recruiting outstanding talent.
Yeah, so I think that anyone who knows a little bit about how I do things, I tend to hire licensed, experienced people. That's not to say it's the only way to do it. I know other people hire unlicensed, they train them from the ground up and that works for them. But my method's been to hire people who are already licensed, already have experience, preferably 3 years in the business. So I'm going to talk about what we look for in that candidate, how we go about recruiting someone of that caliber, the type of compensation and the vision that someone like that needs to have in order to want to join your organization. Things like glass ceilings, someone with that level of talent, where do they want to be in 3 or 5 years? You have to grow at a pace that you're not giving them glass ceilings. They can grow with you throughout the organization. So we have to scale at a rate that people like that have a place to develop, right? So talking through how we bring those people in, we've been very fortunate across 3 states to run pretty high producer averages. Typically, it's been 75 to 76,000 per person per month. This month we're in right now, we're a day out from ending. We're at 82,000 a person. So it's like bringing in people of this caliber, and how do you take care of them? So finding the talent, convincing them to join you, still training them and giving them our culture, our processes. Because one of the objections I get a lot is, oh, if you hire someone with experience, they want to do it their way. Well, no, if your culture is strong and they're a high quality individual, they will take their good things and their skill set, but they'll get absorbed into your culture if you have the right thing in place. So just talking through that entire process and trying to help people get equipped with really high talented people.
Wow. A lot of good stuff there. And you said process, right? They're sharing the process. I think that was a key thing there. Not just what we need to do, but sharing the whole process that you probably took, I don't know how long for you to develop those processes.
Back to spending money the wrong way. When I first started, even back at Allstate, when I first started, I had purchased an agency. And so I saw they had some people who were licensed and okay. They had two employees who had just gotten licensed, and then there was two people who had been licensed for 5 years. And I looked at the discrepancy and the productivity and the performance of those people, and that was almost like my foundation, where it's like, gosh, I have to spend so much time working with these people at the pace that we were running at that time. I was like, I can't afford to take the time. I need to just get two more of these super talented people. And then it became about, okay, how do I get them to come work for me? I'm new and I barely have the money to pay for something like this. So the process around finding that talent, recruiting them, designing compensation to attract them, kind of a playbook to go out and get A-level talent.
So that's almost like the sell that we're working on. Our next sell is not a policy. Our next sell is our next hire.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Cole. All things remote, man. This is a good subject right here.
Yeah. So I'm in a pretty rural town in Oklahoma, so I can't get talent the same way everybody else can get talent, which is a blessing and a curse, right? And so we have to embrace it. But one of the things that I can find talent is by going outside of my town, outside of my state, and finding the people that like Josiah's talking about, right? And so from there, it's more things about being remote, maybe not even looking for talent. What I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about how to manage them, what to expect, how to keep them on track, how to onboard them without ever meeting them, and how to do it rapidly and scaling them quickly. And so those are things that I'm like have learned from talking to people and from doing my own thing. And there's like just little mistakes that I've made that I'm like, oh, I'll never do that again. And they're not things you think about, because when they're in office, it doesn't matter, right? And when they're in office, you can walk in there and you can say what you need to say and turn around and walk out. Oh, I forgot this. It doesn't work that way remote. And you have to be able to track people and monitor them without being a tyrant and lording over them all day. And like basically, it's like, hey, every 3 minutes you're off for 3 minutes. What's going on? Like you can't. You're going to have some things like that. So something I want to talk about, because in my opinion, I think that we're going to a remote world, and so it's going to be a thing where in 5 years you may not be fully remote, but you may be in a situation like I am, and you meet Josiah pisses off one of his staff, and I want to hire him, then it may be one of those things where it's like, okay, I need to know how to do this and do it well, because somebody else will be ahead of me. So I'm trying to get ahead of it now and get a jump start. And that's the things I'm teaching, is the things that like, what have I seen that has worked? What does not work? What to stay away from? And even just some little documents that you're going to need signed, you'll never think about. And that stuff's really important.
Yeah, and you're right. I think that is the direction the workplace is going to. So it is. It's still fairly new. I don't think there's been a really deep dives on this. There hasn't been really like best-selling books. Maybe there has been, but this is a subject specifically for insurance agents, how to work with remote employees. That's going to be very valuable. But yeah, I think with Josiah's culture, that's going to be a long shot there. But
Yeah, probably.
but, but still, it just opens up the pool of the people that are potential. Instead of like just so many people who could drive to your office. I mean, and having a large candidate pool or more options is just so critical for recruiting. Just going wider and being able to pick and choose more people and talk to more people that are looking for positions. And I think that's one of the best thing about this business, is that you can be a high performer in a remote session. Not all industries are like that. So I think it's something that we should definitely take advantage with the technologies that we have today. Cool. All right, Trent. 10 days to success, hour by hour new staff onboarding. So again, sounds like a real process driven, workshop where we're going to talk about step by step. And that's great, because we all know we should onboard, but how is what you're going to be talking about? So I'm excited about this one. And so can you share with us a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, this is just like anything else. It's a process. You got to map it out. Just like Josiah said, you have to have everything, how to make it attractive to somebody, how to bring them on board with you outside of. And the reason I came up with this is I didn't have the money to onboard somebody for 90 days. I didn't have the money to maybe offer a huge salary, but how do you show them the vision? And some of this, the onboarding goes into that, because, we're all guilty in our industry of giving them a phone and a list and saying, good luck, hope you make it. And so I was guilty of that as well. And what I found is it was taking forever for someone to learn how to run a quote. And I was sitting back in my office thinking, well, I got to make my sales and I got to meet my clients and do all these things as well. And it was just burning my pocket. I was paying all this money for these people to just be onboarded forever. And so I was like, I got to sit down and figure out what it takes to fully onboard someone and get someone ready to sell. And my wife actually helped me out a lot with it. She's in corporate America, and she was saying from day one through the first 90 days, she knew hour by hour exactly what she was supposed to do. And I was like, well, that's why we're losing people to corporate America, is because they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're not bored. They've got a full timeline of things. So I said, I need to step back and build this out. I don't have 90 days. I can't work with somebody that long to onboard, but I can do 2 weeks. I can do 10 days. And so I've been super passionate about that, getting somebody up to speed and selling. We're in the production business. That is how we attract people, is you have limitless earning potential. I think it's also important for us to onboard them quickly so they can earn quickly. They need to be able to earn quickly, and kind of get off of our payroll a little bit and kind of create their own payroll, own revenue. So having that hour by hour structured way to get them good to sell is super, super important to me, and I'm really excited to share it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Man, we're hitting every single subject almost to win this business. And onboarding is a huge one because you're right. I think it also helps with Josiah's point too, recruiting the right people, and sometimes if you don't have the budget to find people with experience and sales experience, then that is a great offer to say, hey, we have a program, because staff members, some people think they don't like to be told what to do, but they don't know when they don't know what to do. So providing them direction of, hey, we're going to help you with this, we're going to help you with that. A humble and ambitious staff member will want to learn, and will really appreciate that and feel more comfortable joining our agency if those type of systems and processes are in place. Really just letting them know how we're going to help you win in this insurance business as soon as possible.
And to Trent's point, even when someone is maybe super experienced or has, 5 years under their belt and they're already been licensed and selling, I think something like a 10-day onboarding is so helpful because, one, they may have not been with farmers before. So they still have to, how fast can we get them up and running on our way of doing things as far as farmers goes? And then our actual way of doing things, which is our culture, right? So to bring them in, and back to the objection we get, well, they want to do it their own way. Well, if you had an hour by hour plan of onboarding, this is everything you do, this is what we believe in, this is how we want it done, then you have set very clear expectations. No, we don't do the quote that way. No, we don't do these deductibles. We start here. You can send your onboarding plan or whatever, right? So Trent walking through that, I feel like, is so helpful, because if they're new and they need to be told what to do, or if they're experienced and you still want it done your way, either way, you need to have that set up in your agency.
I think it's important too to note that just because they have experience on paper doesn't mean they have experience running at a high level, right? Because they could have been doing it one way for so long, and then they get over here, it's like, oh, wow, this is a whole nother world. So having an onboarding for everyone can be enlightening as well, because like I said, they may look the part, and then you get in there, and it's like, okay, you're not, but we can make you there. We can get you there. That's why this is. So
I do a lot of phone interviews. I do phone screens before we bring them on. So short story on that. Guy had about 4 years experience, decent sales numbers. I mean, really looked pretty good, written premium, good track record, got the reports, get him on the phone. I'm like, walk me through what has you looking for a change. And he's like, yeah, I've got the experience, been killing it, making good money. You saw my numbers. And, the place I work now is just really fast paced, high pressure, high expectations. That's when I want to really slow down and take a deep breath. I'm like, can I just end the call? Is it rude if I just hit end? It's like, so to your point, it's just because they're experienced doesn't mean they're going to be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I got a story for you guys too. I hired somebody because, well, I didn't do enough, research, but because they looked good on paper with all the experience, we got him on. But she was like, hey, what's a CRM? What do you guys keep talking about the CRM? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, that's like, we do everything from the CRM. Like, you have to be able to do a quote and add notes there. Like, can we please do that? So onboarding does set up the expectation of how we do business, which is every agency is so different. So just setting in the standards from the day one, I think that's so critical. So yeah, and I know you guys aren't gonna let me get away with it, but for me, for team and culture, it's gonna be how to build a 20 agent sales team. So just got somebody licensed this week. So actually we're up to 23 licensed agents. They're not all selling right now, but 20 of them are definitely selling. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about there, sales managers, call reviews, role playing, and just how to build everyone's so there isn't so much discrepancy in the closing ratio. Like some agents could be double the other ones. And it's like, how could that be? Well, it's a little bit easier back in the days when I wasn't out in the open with the cubicles and two agents were next to me. It's like I'm able to coach them one by one all the time. But at a certain level, it just gets harder and harder to be available for each sales agent and really be able to motivate them. So it is a newer journey for me, but it's something that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Having sales managers, having agency managers, and having a management team, how to compensate them, and how to try our best to help every agent hit their goals and have different tiers and comp plans and things like that. And really looking at talk time, quotes, and really more depending on data than ever before. Because in the past it was just like, hey, you're doing a great job. And I know because I'm sitting right next to them. But now it's like, the producers are on complete opposite side of the office. And I just try to at least get a high buy-in, I don't even get what he got cooking today. I used to be able to say that to every single one. So having help there with management, sales training, and motivation, recognition, I'm really big on how to run meetings. Those are the type of things I really want to share with and excited to talk about because I don't think I've done that.
And if you look at, I'm pumped because if you look at this lineup, so first we're talking about how to drive leads to the agency. Now we're talking about how to get the right people in the agency to convert on those leads. Like if I put myself back in the shoes and the seat of a brand new agency or even 1 year, 2 years in, the lessons I would have learned that would have helped propel my career faster that we're discussing and talking about. I mean, like Josiah's strategies on recruiting tenured professionals with proven track records, that's something that's just not talked about. That's something that I had never even heard of until we interviewed Josiah on the Insurance Buzz. And then you also have remote work, which I 100% am a believer that not only is remote work a must in the future, but the talent that you can acquire by allowing your team and your agency to have remote employees and remote team members is going to help propel your agency faster because you have better people around you. And I think we can all agree the best way to grow a business is with great people. But there's a lot to understand. I mean, there's a major learning curve there that Cole's going to share with what he's learned by managing remote. And then Dan, you've been able to share how you've been able to scale your agency throughout the years of 1, 2, 3 team members and now having over 20 sales reps. That is absolutely incredible. And then Trent bringing it home, baby, with how do we set people up for success from the very beginning? In my experience, the first 90 days are the most important days of someone's tenure within an agency. If they are not up and going by day 90, the likelihood that they have success within your agency is very unlikely. And so with Trent sharing his play-by-play, day by day of how to set people up for success from the very beginning, it doesn't matter if it's in person or remote, man, how can you not be excited about what's going on in month 2?
Absolutely. Yeah, I almost feel like we're giving too much away. Should we even get to month 3 or have to sign up the link below by now?
It's the mystery month. I tell you what, I'm going to bring Michael around as my hype man. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
I'll tell y'all
he's
what.
good at it. He's good at it.
You need energy in this business,
My kids have been a challenge lately. They're 7 and 9. Dinner time's been crazy. I'm gonna have you like beam in before dinner time. I'm gonna have you like hype everything up before I go home in the evenings. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's go, baby. It's a transfer of energy. Let's go.
We're gonna be selling you on how to get them more toys and stuff. No, yeah, let's get into month three. Why not? Okay. Growth and revenue acceleration. So this is where we kind of bring it all in. Now we have the leads coming in, we got the people to work on the leads. So man, this is a subject that I had a great pleasure talking to you about, Josiah. Acquisitions, and there's so much that goes into this. So this is going to be a masterclass, and I can't wait already. And this is a huge topic, but people could talk about it, but it's so much better if you're done it. And that's why we're really excited to learn from you about growth through agency acquisitions.
Yeah, I mean, this is a topic I'm obviously really passionate about. I've bought, when I was at Allstate, being my career with farmers, I've bought 5 agencies. I've advised on another 30 plus acquisitions, both buys and sells. Um, and as usual, a lot of the conversations we've gotten into moderate depth on it, but I've never had, an hour and a half to go into a deep dive of everything from how do you do valuations? What are all the factors that go into it? How do you approach a negotiation on something like this? What are preferred financing options and why? What are the reports you should be looking at? How do you read those things? What are the soft factors? Soft factors being things like I was presented with the opportunity to buy a large agency, almost double digits recently, but it's a newer agency and the retention was very poor. The price was extremely low based on what it was, but I'm like, I can't afford to buy it. And the seller was so confused. It's like, why? I've priced it to sell. And the conversation of, well, at the rate it's losing policies, I can't write enough to offset the attrition. So what's going to happen is I'm going to absorb it at a decent price. I'm going to go so far backwards in policy count, the company's going to be frustrated. It's going to eliminate future purchase opportunities because I cannot make up the attrition losses. So soft factors like that, and how do you evaluate when is it a good time to buy, and just the details around doing an acquisition. So something I'm super passionate about and excited to get into.
Wow. All right. And don't give us too much information because but yeah, you really can't in a short amount of time because there's so much and such an important decision over careers to buy an agency or not that you really don't want to go into purchasing an agency without getting these type of advice. And it's really a numbers thing, and I can't think of anybody else better than you to break that down for us. So I'm really excited about that.
And Dan, I think that that's the one thing that we haven't mentioned is after each class, there's an open Q&A session for 30 minutes to an hour long to where we get to do a deep dive on every single question and answer it in full detail. And that's one thing I'm super excited about because anytime you pay to go to workshops or you pay to go to these in-person events, all you hear is the speech and then it's done. It's over. Like you can't ask questions, you can't go into detail, you can't get your specifics answered. And so I'm super pumped about this specifically on a topic like that because I know I can guarantee there will be hundreds of questions around the acquisition strategies, how to determine if you should acquire business, what to look for so you don't make mistakes. And I think that's one important aspect of what we're doing with every single class is opening it up for the Q&As to go into detail and make sure every single person's questions are answered.
That's a great point. And I think that's something we should touch on a little bit more. The difference between like an in-person workshop and something like this, of course. And maybe, Michael, you could break down kind of like the schedule, the cadence, how we talked about how those 12 weeks break down.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you've got each class, we've got the marketing, we've got the recruiting or how to build a good team culture, and then lastly is obviously the agency growth. But you're going to have roughly about an hour of presentation, and it's going to be really detailed presentation too. Like they're sharing everything. I've seen these presentations; they're sharing everything, and then being able to open it up for an additional 30 minutes to an hour of just open floor Q&A session. I don't know of anything else out there like what we're currently doing. I think that there's going to be so much value, and I believe every single person that chooses to invest in themselves and their business, I believe that they're going to walk away with an immense amount of value and knowledge that's going to help them have more confidence and clarity in the direction that they want to take their business to not only finish out 2024, but light it up in 2025.
Absolutely. And it's every Tuesday at the same exact time, for 12 weeks straight. I think that gives everybody the mindset to be like, okay, well, this Tuesday I'm gonna step out of my business and not be in it, but learn how to be working on it. I think that's a great schedule that we pick there of every week, listen to us. And yeah, you're right. You know, when you go to a conference, you could ask a question. And the kind of thing that sucks is that, hey, you're answering, you know, on the way to the restroom, someone stops by and you're answering a question you know, what you just talked about on stage. But you're like, man, I wish the whole audience was able to hear that question because it was a good question. Like now I'm able to go a little bit deeper on that subject where maybe I should have talked about that on stage. So I think that's a great thing that we're able to offer is that we could ask questions and sometimes there's more value being provided from the questions that we're going to have. And I think cool, we have when to buy, when to hold, but also I think you mentioned something we were just talking amongst us is kind of like the benefit of this format rather than like a conference you go getting an airplane for.
Yeah, well, I think it's also, let's look at what the cost is if I wanted to come listen to Dan speak. Plane tickets, meals, the event ticket, rooms, and then time out of the office. So they're going to tell me what that costs, right? And I've spent all that money and then listened to all this stuff, and all I get to do is hear Dan speak. There's no interaction, right? Or there's little interaction. That's, how it's been done for so long, but it doesn't have to be done that way moving forward. And that's what's really cool about this class. And something else that I like about this class that I think we should note is how many of you have been to a conference and they've said, hey, whatever you write down, whatever you don't take action on in 48 hours or less, you'll never do, right? So then you take your 3 key takeaways from a 3-day conference and you're like, oh my gosh, I got all this stuff and I can't. You're going to come in this week and you're going to hear Dan talk or Josiah talk or Trent talks. Okay, I can take action on this right now, do a lot of action, and come back next week. I'm not going to get bored out. It's for an hour. I'm not going to be here 8. I'm going to be here 1 hour, an hour and a half with, I'm going to ask some questions, right? Take some action on it. Maybe this works for me. Maybe it doesn't. Let's push it forward, see what we got, and then come back next week for a new thing. So the amount of action taken in that 12 weeks from this course will be more than you've taken from going to 12 conferences in the past if you'd have gone to a conference a month every month this year. So that's something really important to note about this. Kind of switching gears though and talking about, my subject, when to buy versus when not to buy. I'm not the most intelligent guy in the room, but there are things that make a lot of sense to me. And sometimes, acquisitions came out to farmers. It's never been a thing before. And everybody's like, oh, I'm going to buy, I'm going to buy, I'm going to buy because it was fancy, right? And it's probably a little bit easier. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily better in your situation. So we need to be having conversations about this. And small plug here, I've actually just joined a brokerage with Justin Slocum called Agency for Sale. So I'm helping people buy and sell these agencies. And one of the questions I'm going to ask you is like, why are we buying? Because, if you're buying $1 million book, Dan, for instance, and you're going to write $680,000 this month and do it again next month, it may not make sense for you to buy because all the headache and the hoops and everything you have to jump through for 90 days, you could just outrun it by writing the premium. So are you buying because you want to say I bought something or why are we buying? And if it's a fire sale, it makes sense. Or if we're paying a big multiple on it, no. Well, why wouldn't we just spend that money in marketing and grow right over there and it have better retention? We wouldn't have to worry about the switchover. We wouldn't about all the discrepancies with farmers and all this stuff. And so it needs to be a conversation that's had is like, are we buying to buy because it's fancy? Are we buying because we can't write and that's the only way we can grow? Or are we buying because it's a fire sale? And is it the right time for me to buy? Because it may not be. It may not be. So that's just something that I wanted to bring light to. We're talking because it is new. And I've done 7 acquisitions. And so I have an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm not, shooting in the dark here. And there's a lot of things that I learn every time I do an acquisition. I'm like, oof, that's a new one. Didn't think about that. And I may even get into how to structure your own deals. I think that's important is like, there's a million ways to structure these things so everybody can win in it. And that'd be an important topic to talk about as well, because if you're wanting to buy somebody and you can't raise the capital to do it, there are other ways to do it.
Lots of good stuff there, Cole. Man, and the first part of what you talked about was great, too, because yeah, you're right. You go to a conference and there's so many, it's like information overload. We kind of want to break it down so you have enough time to execute because what's the point of learning if you're not changing behavior? So I love that that's a great point where one week, you learn some stuff that you could actually take action that same day because you're still in the office there. Right after you get off the phone, you could actually take action right then and there. You have a whole week to kind of make some changes in your agency. Next week, you have a new topic, and you could apply what you learn every single week instead of just all at once and just being out of your office. And sometimes could take a toll on the operation too. And yeah, um, and then what you talked about too is those questions we should be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, when to buy, when to hold. But sometimes we don't even know these questions are the right questions. So strategizing on how to buy, that's something that is going to be very valuable. So thank you, Paul, for sharing that. Let's go to mastering the prime scorecard. I think that's something specifically for farmers that is on everybody's mind and it's new. So having a master at understanding how it works is going to be helpful for all of us. So let's share with us your plans on what you're sharing for your class there. Oh, you might be on mute, Trent. Nope, can't hear you.
He can hit his prime scorecard, but he can't work his computer.
You can just share your screen, maybe.
Hey, here's the thing. Well, Trent's figuring out his audio, Dan. How about you share about how to organically build a mega agency, baby?
Yeah, well, hopefully the content is as good as my title there that I came up with. Uh, but yeah, you know, I haven't done any acquisitions. That's why I'm really excited to learn from you guys. But it's just kind of like putting it all together, like how to grow. You know, 17 years, I learned a lot of lessons there. And I just want to just kind of share my lessons of what, man, there's just so much to talk about there. And that's, you know, coming in November. So I'm thinking I have a lot more time to think this through. So as you can tell, I'm just trying to think what I want to talk about right now. But it is going to be something where I just want to really take everybody's class members, you know, everybody's that joins us. I'm going to really take it serious as far as the time and the commitment that you made, and that's a sure sign way that you're going to win. So I am just really committed to deliver as much value as possible for, and that's what, you know, Trent talked about in one of our meetings is that, hey, we want agents to win, you know,
Dan,
and
if you don't mind my asking, what is your premium right now, if you don't mind sharing that?
well, keep in mind we have some non-renewals, so this is, you know, not peak Kitajima agency, but we're around 15 million,
And
and
you've done that all organic.
all organic, yeah.
That's wild.
It was getting closer to 20, but you know, we had some non-renewals in California market's been tough, but I feel like the baseline, the foundation has been built now, and I'm more ready for the challenges that this business brings us, you know, as far as like compliance and things like that. So I feel like I'm ready to kind of build it up once the market kind of opens up, and we still are on the right track now, finally. But yeah, all organic and through leads and through producers too, you know, because I haven't sold in the last 5 years. So some of these things that I'm really just want to share with you guys because I just really I just really enjoy this progression of being an agent to a business owner to having multiple team members. And that is something that I have a lot of passion with. And I just want to see agents win. And if they sign up for this class, I'm really committed to making sure that happens, but just not holding back on any information and just really just answering any question I can and just really breaking it down for them of what has helped me because I do want to do that for agents. I do care about agents, but it's very difficult for us to take our time and have one-on-one meetings and take calls and really, you know, so that setting is not realistic or scalable. So I think this is going to be a great way for me to just have slides ready, really put some thought into it and share what has helped me over, you know, all these years.
Yeah, I mean, and Dan used to talk about taking calls from other agents. Once you hit 15 million, you basically, you know, you're not allowed to have an outside life at all, are you?
Well, no, you know, I think it's just the great thing about this business is you do have the freedom to take it easy if you want to.
Yeah.
You know, you do have the freedom to have managers run your agency. I think at that point, and there was this period of my career too where like, yeah, maybe I do want to take it easy, but I found out that you learn a little bit more about yourself, and I actually do enjoy what I'm doing. So it's really more of choice than need. And I think that also gives you a little bit more enjoyment out of work, because then you actually realize like, hey, like I actually am doing this because I like doing it, because I have the option to not do it as hard as I want to. But having a life or not, that's, I guess not having it is by choice
Yeah.
for me. It's family and business and that's it. But that's just kind of the way I like it.
Yeah. I think that's probably how all of us are. Trent especially.
Yeah, and Trent with his age, man, I'm so excited for his future. I mean, to have this knowledge and thanks to his family too, his dad's situation. But yeah, we've got a future superstar if you're as young as you look.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right, perfect, perfect. So I appreciate you thinking that I'm young. I think I may be a little older than I do look. So, but hopefully that'll benefit me as the years go on.
That's a fantastic quality, Trent. Everyone assumes I'm like 45, so that's a fantastic quality, trust me.
For sure.
So you ready to hear about the Prime scorecard?
Yeah.
All right, all right. So, like I was saying when I was on mute, love it or hate it, it's here to stay. The executives have made it clear they are going off the Prime scorecard. Personally, I like it. Whether I agree or disagree with the metrics that they have on there, it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint for me to know where I need to be favorable with my district manager, with corporate, and to get the acquisitions like Cole and Josiah are going to talk about. There are situations that you need an acquisition to grow, especially through these past couple of years where I am, it's been cheaper to acquire than it is to organically grow new business. And so if there weren't certain times that I was hitting certain metrics, it's just too bad. You can't do it. So Prime is going to be the way of the future. I'm sure there's going to be tweaks, but from what we have now, I do like it because it gives us that clear blueprint of what farmers wants from us based on our size and our agencies. And it's going to put you in a position to get any type of special treatment from farmers that you might want.
Love it. Yeah, and one thing that's great about youth is that there's also things that I just want to be up to date with what's coming next too, and new ways of doing things, technology and stuff like that. So I think again we have a great group here. When we mention your age, I think that's an actual advantage of our group is that we're going to see things in your perspective and leverage technology. So we want to always stay on top of what's working for the different, generations and the tools we have today. So yeah, I'm really excited with you guys. For the sake of time, we're not even going to get into the bonus that class we have in December. I think we have a little special something that we're not even going to announce yet until it's maybe even official. So I know Josiah got something cooking there. But all in all, man, that's what we're going to be going over. It's going to be a jam-packed 12 weeks. And Michael, why don't you bring it home with us and maybe a little bit more details on how agents could find out and actually sign up with us.
Yep, sorry, I was having some mute problems too right there. So yeah, so most importantly, how you get signed up. So I'm sure that we've probably emailed or text you, but reach out to any of us. You can also go to ceopro.com, I believe, which is in the links that Dan will have in the show notes. So there's going to be a link right there. And so registration is open right now, and it does look like we are going to sell out because we are only allowing 200 seats available at this point in time. And so if you're interested in growing, if you're interested in scaling your agency, you're interested in just investing in yourself and becoming a better business owner and learning from others' mistakes with foundational processes and systems that it takes to be a successful agency, from marketing to how to find the best people for your team to how to acquire or grow organically, I don't know how you could go wrong with making this investment. And I'm a firm believer that the best investment you'll ever make is the investment that you make in yourself. So make sure you click the link below in the show notes. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we get this bad boy started and up and rolling for our first training.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Well, who better to talk about how to sign up than our sales guru himself? Thank you, Michael, for putting us all together. It's going to be awesome working with you guys, and I'm looking forward to week 1. So see you guys there.